Hi everyone. So in this tutorial we'd be calculating and plotting the wind from WRF simulations, and this is the code that I used for doing so. Let me just give you a quick uh, like overview of the code, what I did and everything, so that you can do it yourself. So the first thing is obviously setting up the libraries. Now, many of you, and also it was a problem that I faced when I was beginning learning how to code, is like, how do we remember all those libraries that we may need or might need, or do we really need to memorize that? See, the thing is, when you know what you're doing, or what you're going to do, you just don't really have to remember all those sort of stuffs. So, for example, we'll obviously be working with NetCDF files, so we need this library. We'll be plotting, so we would need Matplotlib, and we will be adding some features like international borders, state borders, rivers, lakes, and stuff. So we'll need the Cartopy features and Cartopy CRS that's related to the coordinate system we would be using. And these two, OS and RE, these modules are there for to help you navigate through the files and the folders that where the files are being kept. So this is kind of like a basic skeleton or structure of the libraries that we need in most of our, usual coding. But you may need a few here and there. For example, you might need NumPy if you're calculating something. So this is sort of the way I do my stuff. So you can actually do yours as well. Okay, so enough of that. So this is kind of like, this is a special function that I actually have like written down for you. So if you have followed my previous tutorial, that we take the time information, date and time information from the files. So you know that like WRF files, they have a different naming structure, and we can actually use that from their file name. And we can also use, there is a function called datetime, which we can use. And I think WRF also has a variable named timed, which you can use, but that can be tricky sometimes. So the easiest way is just get that from the file names. So this is a function that I used for plotting this one. So uh, many of you might have noticed that I didn't use it in my previous tutorial. This is because what I really want to do is, try out different solutions for one single problem. This gives you like versatility when coding. So this is a method that I'm going to use for this one. I may use a different one for the next tutorial that I'm going to upload. So this is just what it's going to do is just it's created a function which would get you the time, and this is kind of like the file, the naming convention or naming structure, and this will vary. You might see these things here. This is because Windows doesn't really recognize, I think it's semicolons, pardon me if I'm wrong. So Linux actually makes, it has a different naming structure, and this machine that I'm working on is a Windows one. So these are just silly stuffs, but you get it. Okay. So next is like, you know, where your files are. You specify your directory. This would obviously change depending on where you keep your data. And the important thing to note here is this R, which actually means read. Uh, you might like, you can actually get work without R. In that case, the slash would be, I think this is a pardon me again if I'm wrong. This is a backward slash. That in that case it would be a forward slash or double backward slash. Okay. And this one is like, this is where, so let me show you. So what I'll be doing, there are multiple WRF output files and I'll be working with each of them. So that's why I need to use a loop for working with all the files. And this is where I specify the location and where to look and what to look. So this is like where to look. This is the directory, and look for file names that starts with WRF out. So as you can see, all of them start with WRF out. And then we get to our main part where we plot the wind, and there's obviously we will be working in a loop, and each loop we would be calculating, not just calculating, we'll be just taking the wind variables and plotting them. So this is, I want to point you to this. So this is where I picked every 10th point. This is because if we don't do that, it would look very clumsy. You will not understand anything. Obviously, you can change this if you want to. Let's say if you want to change it to 5, you can do that. But let's just keep 10. 10 looks good. And definitely I've run this code before, so I know that 10 looks good. But if your work requires something else, do it please. And there's nothing specific to explain or elaborate on. This is where we plot the wind barbs. I'll show you a different method in one of my future tutorials. This is where I plot the wind in wind barbs, and this is kind of like the length of it. I keep it as 5. It looks good for me. And see, this is the one I want to talk about. So this is where I'll extract file name and date from the, I'll extract date and time from file name. And this is where this function comes in handy. Again, there are different methods of doing things. You can try your, if you know something that works for you, please do it. And I also showed one in my previous tutorials, which you can obviously use. And yeah, that's just about that. These are I've explained them before in my previous code, so let's give it a try. Yep, it's running. As you can see, there's the star mark, and it also signifies it's running. And you can see it's running as these new files are being created. Let's look at one of them for example. Yep, this is what we wanted to produce. Looks okay to me. So there it is, and this will continue as long as this will continue for all the files that you can see. So so the last file is February 15 0 UTC, so it will continue. So this is kind of like what I wanted to go through, and yeah, I hope you try it. My advice is, if you don't try it yourself, you will not understand the things and you will not learn things. So give it a try, and follow me in YouTube and also my GitHub channel, where you can actually find my works. I'll post this is the one. I'll post everything here. This was the one before, 8 months ago. Sorry for that. So anyway, best of luck on your Python and WRF adventures. See you next time.